Okay. Sorry, students. There were some issues. So today I'm going to explain to you the concept, okay, known as pronoun. So what is pronoun? So definition says the pronoun is a word, okay, which refers to a previously used noun. Now let me give you some examples. Okay. Now look at this example, students. It's the sentence reads, Akash and Badal are friends, but he is very brilliant. But he is very brilliant. Now, this statement is ambiguous because we don't know who this he refers to. Okay, means, of course, he is a pronoun, but it has been wrongly, it's not clear whether this he refers to Akash or Badal. So, like, that's what we are going to learn in this chapter, okay? So this statement is grammatically wrong. But if I write here, but the okay. Now statement reads, students, Akash and Badal are friends, but the former is very brilliant. Means, students, this former refers to Akash. Means this statement is now grammatically correct. So you have to use pronouns correctly. Okay, you have to use pronouns in a way that should clearly refer to previously used nouns. There should not be ambiguity in the statement, in a sentence or statement. Okay, for example, student, if I put here, okay, Akash and Badal are friends, but the latter is very brilliant. Now, the latter refers to Badal. So now this statement is grammatically correct. Okay, but when I put he, only he, instead of the latter and the former, Akash and Badal are friends, but he is very brilliant means it was not clear who the statement was talking, who is brilliant, whether Akash is brilliant or Badal is brilliant. Okay. Now, students, when it comes to pronoun, you have to remember three things: subjective case, objective case, and possessive case. So now let me explain to you what subjective case is, possessive case is, and objective case is. So students, subjective case. Okay, these are subjective cases. Okay, I am a doctor, you are a doctor, he is a doctor, she is a doctor, they are doctors. Okay, you are doctors. Okay, it is a dog. These are students subjective. Of course, they are pronouns, but they are subjective case. Now let me explain to you, students, what objective cases. Okay. He will teach me. This is objective case, students. He will teach you, he will teach her, he will teach him, he will teach us, he will teach them. These are called, students, objective cases. You have to remember, students, these objective cases. Now, students, I will write down possessive case. Possessive case, students, simple. My, his, her, our, their. These are, students, possessive cases. You have to remember, this is my book, this is his book, this is her book, this is our book, this is their book. Okay, you have to remember, students, this possessive case. Now, students, I will write down some statements which may be grammatically incorrect. I will correct them and explain to you why they are incorrect. Okay, neither of the three boys have done their homework. Now, students, it's understandable कि तीनों में से किसी लड़के ने भी उसका homework नहीं किया. It is understandable. A person, like, if you use this sentence, then a person listening to you will easily understand what you are trying to say. But this statement is grammatically incorrect. Why? There are three errors, students. What are they? Let me explain to you. First, neither. Either and neither are used just for two people. When you have to compare, when you have to talk about two people, only then do you have to use neither and either. You cannot use neither either for more than two people or more than two things. So here it should be okay. Neither of the two boys. Again, students, it's wrong. Neither automatically implies that I am talking about two people or two things. So I do not need to write two either. This two either, it is redundant. Okay, I will automatically understand that I'm talking about. Okay, I will, like, if someone uses neither either, then I will automatically understand they are talking about either two things or two people. So yeah, I do not need to write two as well. Okay. Neither of the boys have done their homework. Now, is it still incorrect, students? What's wrong? Neither of the boys, मतलब boy one and boy two, दोनों में से किसी एक ने भी उसका homework नहीं किया है. So here it should be neither of the boys has done. Now, students, boys, which is a masculine gender, male gender. So here it should not be there. It should be his. Neither of the boys has done his homework. You always have to remember, because I am talking about separate these boys as individuals, separate individuals, boy one and boy two. So I have to neither of the boys, matlab not uh, neither boy one nor boy two has done not their homework, students. It should be his homework. Okay, one more sentence, students. Okay. Sentence read, students, everyone have to do his homework. Okay, again, this statement may sound correct, but it is grammatically incorrect. So what are the errors? There are two errors. First, everyone, someone, anybody, anyone, something, okay? Anything. They always take a singular verb. Of course, they mean plural, okay? Everyone means everyone, okay? All of them, okay? But they always take a singular verb. So here it should be has. Now, students, everyone. Everyone means there could be boys, there could be girls as well. Gender is not clear. So when gender is not clear, especially in the case of everyone, someone, anybody, anything, okay, anyone, then you have to use either his or her. Means you have to say, students, everyone has to do his or her homework. But instead of saying his or her again and again, what I would write? There. Everyone has to do their homework when gender is not clear, students. Okay, because when I say everyone means that could be boys, that could be girls, okay, that could be males, females. Okay, gender is not clear, so I would use pronoun that. That's what we are learning, students. Okay, in this session we are learning the application of pronouns. You know what pronouns are. Okay, you know me, he, her, they, them, heads. Okay, you know this things, but you have to learn the application of these pronouns. Okay. Now, students, let me now, students, here gender is clear. Every girl has to do, not there, students. There we write there only when gender is not clear. Gender is clear. Every girl has to do her homework. That should be the correct pronoun, students. Every girl has to do her homework. Okay. Okay. This is a sentence, students. One must manage his responsibility. One must manage his responsibility. Now, this statement sounds correct. Okay, looks correct, but it's grammatically correct because one, whenever you use one, okay, you always have to use pronoun. Sorry, students, my handwriting is slightly bad. You always have to, you must remember this. One plus once. One always take once as the pronouns, okay? Now let me, students, write some examples and explain to you the concept. Okay. Now, students, it's certainly not the case. This statement looks correct, but there is an error here. So what's the error? Error is here, students. It should not be its. Of course, it could be its, but with apostrophe. Now, this its is abbreviation of it is. It is certainly not the case. It's certainly its abbreviation. It is certainly not the case. Okay. One more example, students. Okay. Everything seemed okay. This is the statement. Now, it looks correct. Okay. Of course, it sounds correct, but it is again grammatically incorrect. What is wrong then, students? You must be thinking then this statement is completely correct. There cannot be any error in this statement. You are wrong, students. There is an error. Error is here. This everything, there should not be any space between every and thing. They should be written together. This is the correct way, students, of writing everything. Okay. Now, student statement reads, as soon as the exam is over, students must meet her counselor. No, students, it's wrong. Students, okay? So, what could be the pronoun? What could be the objective case? Here, you have to write their counselor. As soon as the exam is over, students must meet their counselor. That should be the correct pronoun here. Okay. Now, let me write one sentence, students. Let me write four sentences, and you have to find out which one is correct. Okay. Now, students, sentence reads, okay, I will write just one sentence and try to explain to you the error. My mother told my sister that her father was going crazy. Her father was going crazy. Now, students, is that clear that whose father is being talked about? Whether his mother's father or sister's father? Is that clear? Whose father is being talked about? That's not clear, students. Okay, we do not know whose father is this, whether this is mother's father or sister's father. So this is again ambiguous, or I would say it's grammatically incorrect. But instead, students, if I write My mother told my sister that letter's father, okay, that letter's father was going crazy. Now, student, this is correct because when you have two things, okay, when you have two people or two things, and when you talk about the first one, you always use former, and you talk, and if you have to talk about the second one, you use later. So here the letter means sister's father. My mother told my sister that my sister's father means my father was going crazy because my sister's father is my father. Okay. Now, students, sentence reads, I will not let blank and blank do this work. Okay. So you have to, like, let me give you some options, students. Okay. Now, students, what could be the answers? I will not let blank and blank do this work. So you have to remember, students, you must remember this, that after let, we use objective case. And I have already explained to you what objective case is. Me, him, her, them, us, you. Okay. So I will not let him and them do this work. This is the correct structure. You have to remember, after let, you have to put objective case. Let us do that. Let them do what they want to do. Right? Okay. Now, student, these are two sentences. Ram and Shyam are talking to themselves. Ram and Shyam are talking to each other. Now you have to identify which sentence is correct. Okay. So let me tell you, both of them are correct, but they have different meanings. When I say Ram and Shyam are talking to themselves, means Ram is talking to Ram himself and Shyam is talking to Shyam himself. मतलब वो खुद एक दूसरे से ही बात कर रहे हैं, खुद से ही बात कर रहे हैं. Like when we look at mirror, sometimes we look at the mirror and we talk to ourselves. Like sometimes I do. Okay, I talk to myself when I look at the mirror. Okay, when I do speaking practice, so I look at the mirror and talk to myself. Okay, I speak with myself. So Ram and Shyam are talking to themselves, but when I say Ram and Shyam are talking to each other, means Ram is talking to Shyam and Shyam is talking to Ram. Both of them are talking to each other. There is an interaction between both of them. Now, students, if I put one more name here, then Lakshman, Ram, and Shyam are talking to each other. Now, this is this correct, students? No, because each other is generally used for two people. For more than two people, you have to use one another. Okay. Okay. Smita told her relatives that she did not like they. Is this correct, students? This statement is incorrect. What's the error? Smita told her relatives that she did not like objective case. So here it should be them. Smita told her relatives that she did not like them. Students, let me write it properly. Okay. Let me write one more example. Okay. Now, this is a sentence story. To succeed in life, one must like what he does. So, I have already taught you that whenever there is one, okay, one, you have to use to succeed in life, one must like what one does. Okay, not he does, sorry, he does, or she does, or it does. Okay, when you use one, you have to one must like what one does. That's the correct application of a pronoun. Okay. It should be kept between she and we. Now, is this sentence correct, students? No, this statement is grammatically again incorrect. Why, students? Because after between, of course, between plus there should be there will always be a combination of between and end. We cannot use between without end. Okay, between she and we. Now, this statement, she and we students are subjective cases, right? But whenever you use between, you always have to use objective case. So for she, what's the objective case, students? Between her, and for what's the objective case for we? Us. Okay. I hope students everything is getting clear. Getting like you are getting what I'm trying to explain to you. Okay. Everyone except he and she was present. I have used was because students, everyone, as I said, okay, everyone always takes a singular verb. Okay, so everyone except he and she was present. Now, is this correct, students? It looks correct, but it's grammatically incorrect because after except two, okay, we have to use objective case. So everyone except objective case for he is him, objective case for she is everyone except him and her was present. You have to remember this, students. Between, except, you have to use objective case, not subjective or possessive case. Okay. Now, student sentence reads, one learns to respect himself in the army. One learns to respect himself in the army, students. So what's wrong here, students? Now, students, it should be clear to you, okay? I should not need to even explain to you what's wrong here. One learns to respect students, not himself, herself, themselves, okay? Ourselves or yourself, yourselves. It should be oneself, okay? One learns to respect oneself in the army, students. Okay. Now, students, this is very important concept. Whenever you have this structure, okay, you have to remember it is now blank, students. Now, which case we should put? Objective, possessive, or subjective? They subjective, them objective, their possessive case. So, what you have to write, students, whenever you have this structure, it is, then you have to put a subjective case, which is they. It is they who. Now, students, they is plural. Okay, this who refers to this they. So, verb should agree, which is subject, which is they. So, who are responsible? It is they. Here, you should not write, students, it is them. In except, between, okay, let, you have to put objective case. But in whenever you have this structure, in this structure, it is blank who, then you have to put a subjective case. It is they who are responsible. Let me give you one more example to elucidate this concept. It is again, you have to put subjective case. So it is I. Now, students, this who okay. Now, okay, this is okay. It is I. Now, this who refers to I. Now, I never takes student. Okay, is as its verb, are as its verb. It always takes am. It's I who am responsible. Okay, you have students. I'm extremely sorry. Okay, for my bad handwriting, but I hope they are not completely illegible. Okay. Again, students, you have to remember. Here it should be it's I, then not who is responsible. Most of you will speak it's I who is responsible. It's I who is responsible. It's grammatically correct. It's I who am responsible. Let me give students you a wonderful example. Okay. Lemons have less vitamin C than oranges do, means than oranges have, but it is used more extensively than oranges. Now, is this sentence correct, student? This statement is grammatically incorrect. And what's the error? Error is, student, here. Lemons have less vitamin C than oranges do. Lemons plural, oranges plural. But eating, it should be they. But they, then not is, but they are used more extensively than oranges. Lemons have less vitamin C than oranges do, but we wrote it is used, not it is students. Lemons, plural, but they are used more extensively than oranges. Okay, you have to remember this, students. Okay. Now we will do a couple of more examples, then we will wind up. A child always prefers playing with one's friends to studying. A child always prefers playing with one's friends to studying. Now, student, child. It could be a boy child, it could be a girl child. Okay. So, whenever for a child gender is not clear, we put pronoun it's. A child always prefer playing with one's name. Once is used just for one. Its friend. Here you cannot put student there because there is used for plural. Here I'm talking about just one child. A child always prefers playing with, okay, not his, not her, because gender is not clear. It could be a boy child, it could be a girl child, okay. So we will put a neutral gender pronoun, which is used for neutral gender, which is its friends to studying. You have to remember this, students. Okay. The Google students has decided to lay off their employees. Now there are two errors, students. Okay, one error is related. Okay, the error is related to the concept which I taught you in previous session, last grammar session. The Google students, we never ever put articles before the names of companies. So it should be just Google. Google has decided to lay off their employees. Google is a single entity, singular entity. So it should be here. Google has decided to lay off its employees. Google has decided to lay off its employees, students. One more example, students, and then we will end the session. Okay. The three people present are Akash, Badal, and him. Okay. It's wrong, students. The three people present are Akash, Badal, and here it should be a subjective form, subjective case. And he, or you could use any name, Akash, Badal, and Roshni. But here it should be a subjective form. Okay. The three people present are students Akash, Badal, and he. Okay, students. So just wait for a minute.